All right, Tucker Carlson just had Sam Altman on his channel, and it's a perfect example of someone with introverted feeling, that's Tucker, completely talking past someone who has extroverted feeling, which is Sam Altman. All right, let's check out some really juicy clips. There's one point where Tucker literally accuses him of murder. We'll get to that. So you can have two types of feeling functions. You can have introverted feeling, which we'll see in Tucker, where you come to your own personal moral convictions.
Well, every decision is ultimately a moral decision, and we make them without even recognizing them as such.
Almost in a black and white kind of way. This is what I think is good. This is what I think is bad.
You know, liberal democracy is better than Nazism or whatever. They seem obvious, and in my view are obvious, but are still moral decisions.
And if you're doing that, you're also expecting, hey, I have my personal moral convictions, and I'm sure so do you. And if I'm going to have to interact with you or our paths cross or intertwine, I would really like to understand where you're coming from. What's important to you? What do you consider good and bad?
Like, what's the moral framework that's been put into the technology? Like, what is right or wrong according to ChatGPT? Who made these decisions? Who decided that one thing is better than another?
You are the creator. You're the person behind OpenAI. This is a thing that everybody uses. And so I'm asking advice from this thing that you made, and you must have made it to reflect your own personal values. What are your personal values? But if that person has extroverted feelings somewhere, they're not coming from that worldview.
That means that the milieu in which you grew up and the assumptions that you imbibed over years are going to be transmitted to the globe, to billions of people. That's like a big thing.
I want to be clear. What we should do is try to reflect the moral, I don't want to say average, but the like collective moral view of that user base.
So where an introverted function, in this case, introverted feelings or values, priorities, is coming to a conviction. You can watch my old video to learn more about that. An extroverted function is looking to gather context, either to understand what's out there or to react quickly, or to leverage other people's experience to come to, in this case with extroverted feeling, a shared sense of values of what's important. Hey, what do we all kind of agree on?
ChatGPT should do is reflect that like weighted average or whatever of humanity's moral view, which will evolve over time.
Even if it's not to come to an agreement, putting your own personal stance in the context of, hey, what does everyone else value? Like, oh, okay, you know, I kind of value this, but everybody else thinks it's really important. So I kind of know I'm in the minority here. So, you know, maybe I'll kind of like let this one go.
There's plenty of things that ChatGPT allows that I personally would disagree with. But I don't like, obviously, I don't wake up and say, I'm gonna like impute my exact moral view and decide that like, this is okay and that is not okay and this is a better view than this one.
Actually, this is a great example of an extroverted function making fun of its introverted counterpart. Oh, I don't just come in here and be like, this is right or this is wrong according to my personal opinion. Like, who does that? Oh, FI does that. Introverted feeling does that. In the same way, in my last video, we saw Jocko making fun of introverted thinking. Like, oh, I just come in here, I already thought about this, this is right and wrong.
And you come back to me, hey boss, I was looking at this thing and it's just not possible. And I don't say, well, actually it is possible because I've already thought it through, here's how you need to do it.
That's him making fun of introverted thinking. So anyway, Sam, when it comes to moral questions, he's gonna be like, yeah, you know, we kind of talked it out with the team, or let's just have an open discussion, like right or wrong. Okay, I don't know, what do you think? Tell me, let's just talk it out. And it's like,
I wonder if you recognize the importance.
How do you think we're doing on it?
I'm not sure.
Okay, we'll weigh that. And if that sounds like, oh yeah, I have been hearing a lot of that, maybe we should do something about that. Maybe we should reflect those values in whatever we're making. And this is where the other functions come into play. So both these guys have introverted sensing as their sensing function. Basically, that means, again, an introverted function is that you're coming to a conviction of like, what is it that you believe about reality? Like, what is like, do you believe in religion? So Tucker asks him, hey, like, what do you believe about the reality of the world? And what are your values that are associated with that?
So what are your spiritual views?
I'm Jewish.
So you're religious, you believe in God?
I'm not like a literalist on the Bible.
But do you believe in God? Like, do you believe that there is a force larger than people that set down a specific order for living, that there's an absolute morality attached that comes from that God?
I think probably like most other people, I'm somewhat confused on this. I don't think I have the answer.
Everybody appeals to a higher power, and you said that you don't really believe that there's a higher power communicating with you, so I'm wondering, like, where did you get your moral framework?
And you can see, like, as like Tucker is asking these questions, kind of getting a little bit frustrated. At some point, he's like, yo.
It just feels like you have these incredibly heavy, far-reaching moral decisions, and you seem totally unbothered by them. And so I'm trying to press to your center to get the angst-filled Sam Altman who's like, wow, I'm creating the future. I'm the most powerful man in the world. I'm grappling with these complex moral questions. My soul is in torment thinking about the effect on people. Describe that moment in your life.
I'm trying to get to your moral framework. What the hell is it? What are your introverted sensing SI rules and values that this thing that you've created is based on? Because if I don't know that and I'm getting advice, I don't know the source code of why you're getting it. So, but are you going to secretly nudge me in the direction of your personal values?
Why shouldn't the internal moral framework of the technology be totally transparent? We prefer this to that. I mean, I don't know what it stands for, but it does stand for something. And unless it admits that and tells us what it stands for, then it guides us in a kind of stealthy way toward a conclusion we might not even know we're reaching. Do you see what I'm saying? So like, why not just throw it open and say, ChatGPT is for this, we're for suicide for the terminally ill, but not for kids or whatever. Like, why not just tell us?
Right. The other thing that's different between these two is Tucker has extroverted intuition at the top. He's an ENFP. Basically, that just means that they're obsessed with not only finding out what is the truth of reality, but constantly also having this like doubt of like, okay, what is the source of my information? I need, and I'm influenced by extremely the information that's out there. And so I have this paranoia of, I don't really know where it's coming from. Maybe it's actually other person's agenda and this is like fake news. Anyway, we'll talk about that another time. So anyway, Tucker shooting these FI questions at Sam. What do you believe about this? This or that? This or that? This or that? Is this good or bad? Is suicide good or bad? Is suicide good or bad? Which is kind of like a stupid question. All right, most people will say suicide is bad.
So ChatGPT's official position is suicide is bad.
Well, yes, of course, ChatGPT's official position is suicide is bad.
Well, you already said it's okay for the machine to steer people toward suicide if they're terminally ill. So you wouldn't feel bad about that.
Do you not think there's a difference between a depressed teenager and a terminally ill, like miserable 85-year-old with cancer?
Irrelevant debate. Once you say it's okay to kill yourself.
Because I'm trying to think about this in real time, do you think if says, hey, I'm terminally ill with cancer and I'm really miserable and I just feel horrible every day, what are my options? Do you think it should say,
I mean, if we're against killing, then we're against killing. Then we're just going to kind of stick with that. You know what I mean?
So the thing to take away from this is that when you have an introvert function somewhere and someone else has an extroverted function somewhere, it's going to look like to you that they're just being evasive and they're not really answering the question. They kind of are not answering the question. Part of it is the way they come to a conclusion is through gathering a bunch of different insights. Another part of it is they might not feel strongly about any specific thing. Lastly, they kind of are being evasive because they'd rather make their point in an indirect way. Again, I talked all about that in my last video. Then the tables turn. So remember, now Sam is the one who has the introverted function. He has introverted thinking. And so that's the area where he's more black and white, that it is or not, that this is true or this is false. I believe this, I don't believe this. So the conversation moves to this guy who committed suicide allegedly in OpenAI, who maybe had a dissenting opinion, and there is some controversy around the circumstances under which he committed suicide.
So you had complaints from one programmer who said you guys are basically stealing people's stuff and not paying them, and then he wound up murdered. What was that?
Also a great tragedy. He committed suicide.
Do you think he committed suicide?
I really do.
And now Tucker is making his point in an extroverted way, where you're kind of getting to say what you want to say, but you don't really take responsibility for it.
There were signs of a struggle, and his mother claims he was murdered on your orders.
Do you believe that?
I'm asking.
I mean, you just said it, so do you believe that?
And so finally, Sam's like, yo, dude, you're accusing me of murder. You're accusing me of murder. You want me to talk about it, and you can't even come out and say that that's what you believe?
Do you feel that, when people look at that and they're like, it's possible that happened, do you feel that?
I haven't done too many interviews where I've been accused of
Oh, I'm not accusing you at all. I'm just saying his mother says that. I don't think a fair read of the evidence suggests suicide at all. I think it's weird.
You understand how this sounds like an accusation?
Of course. And I certainly, let me just be clear once again, not accusing you of any wrongdoing, but
Seems totally crazy. And you are a little bit accusing me, but
I actually like both of these people, and I personally doubt that Sam actually called this guy's murder. Like, if he's going to murder someone, I'm sure there's many people higher on that list. And I do like Tucker, but even for me as an introvert thinker, I'm like, dude, this is cowardly. Like, if you're going to say it, like, oh, that's great, you're bringing up the question, you're bringing up the topic. If you're going to accuse someone of murder, just come out and say it. Anyway, understanding the difference between extroverted feeling and introverted feeling has personally given me the most dividends from all this like personality psychology thing, because it really gets to the core of how most people miss each other. Anyway, that's all the time I have. Let me know what you think. I'll catch you guys next time.
Google has decided you should have less information rather than more. It's immoral. You could actually get information that is true, not intentionally deceptive. The way to do that on YouTube is to subscribe to our channel. Subscribe. Hit the little bell icon to be notified when we upload and share this video.